Electric vehicle prices continued to climb higher in March, rising 7% from the year prior. According to Kelley Blue Book, those data that points come in from compared to gas-powered EVs, to gas-powered cars rather. EV prices last month were higher by nearly 25% as we see the gap between the vehicle types widen. But there are a lot of financial incentives to buy an electric vehicle. Kelley Blue Book shows the average incentive package for an EV in March was 13.3% of the average transaction price. Meanwhile, 25% tariffs on imported cars are pushing more people to consider whether they should act now. So, is now the time specifically to buy an electric vehicle? That's the big question. Here with more, we've got Sean Tucker, lead editor at Kelley Blue Book. Let's just start with that question. Is now the time to buy an EV, Sean?
If you were going to car shop anyway, regardless of the tariffs, then this is a great time to buy an EV. But I am always telling people, be cautious of car shopping specifically because of the tariffs. The situation is just too volatile to say, yeah, go make a 5 or 6 figure decision right now.
And so with that in mind, what is the decision tree, the kind of checklist that people need to go through now if they are thinking about purchasing an electric vehicle?
You want to be sure that it fits into your lifestyle. I would not buy one. Americans tend to overbuy, buy too much car. We look at range and the Department of Transportation says that the average American drives about 39 miles in a day, so every EV on the market will meet your daily needs. I would be a little cautious if I were someone who took long road trips regularly, or with hurricane season coming up, I always caution folks, I wouldn't buy one if I were in a situation where I might need to evacuate.
And so with that in mind, as we're thinking about some of the companies that are just looking across their models and their fleets and how they're pricing might also need to take into consideration what tariffs could still be on the table as they're trying to sell new fleets or as they're building them out. What are you hearing from companies and what's seeming to be effective right now in their communication to consumers?
The tariffs are taking time to really impact prices. You'll see a lot of stories indicating, oh, the tariffs kicked in April 3rd. That means every price goes up by 25% on April 3rd. That's not the case. The car pricing is very complicated. There are, the automakers sell to distributors who sell to dealers who sell to you. And at every point along that chain, there's a little bit of flexibility to absorb some of the tariff. And we expect that prices will continue to shift throughout based on inventory levels. So there's not really a single predictable response yet.
And so if customers, if buyers are going to a dealership or looking to purchase online and they hear some of these advertisements saying, hey, these are tariff-free vehicles that you're seeing on your screen right now, what are the questions they should be asking when they go into a dealership or have conversation with any salesperson?
Right now, there aren't really tariff-specific questions. The issue of tariff-free vehicles is that most of the cars on dealer lots today were imported at pre-tariff prices, and they can still sell it to you at something like a pre-tariff price. However, if you are the dealer, you know that for every car you sell right now, you're going to have to pay more to replace it. So it is fair for them to negotiate a little bit of a higher price in order to be ready for that world.
And so what about on the standard and internal combustion engine that has really been the driver for markets that EVs are still trying to take some of that share from?
In terms of tariffs, there's not really a major difference between the two at this point. It's a matter of, can you negotiate that price down and would you be satisfied with the driving experience of an EV?
Certainly. And as we're thinking about where there are different commitments from companies to try and build out even more of their manufacturing footprint, sensing, and they've really kind of also been able to look across what was taking place within USMCA and Trump 1.0 to really understand, okay, where do we need to kind of onshore more of our production to avert any of these impacts in the future? Are we seeing that at full force right now, or are we expecting that there will be more announcements and more reshoring of some of those efforts?
We are seeing a little bit of it, but I would caution you to keep in mind that those are extremely long-term decisions for automakers. They're redesigning cars on a 7 to 10 year cycle. If they're building a new factory, they have to amortize that over 50 years or more. So they make very few decisions with a time horizon as short as one presidency. And also keep in mind that under the Biden administration previously, we were already seeing a lot of onshoring going on because of the EV tax credits, which only really apply to cars with an increasing percentage made in America. So the onshoring was already happening, and while it will happen, it will be a lot slower than one presidency.